Hey everybody, this is my 2.0 video for how to play the Goo Goo Dolls song Name in standard tuning. So your guitar is tuned to E, A, D, G, B, E. That's lowest to highest string, and then you have a capo on the 2nd fret. So I'm gonna play a little bit of it and then I'll talk. So okay, and I'll try to, I noticed I didn't do in the last video was I explained like the first chord change and I didn't explain the rest. So anyway, this will be super thorough and probably longer. So our first chord is basically what a quote-unquote G, technically an A with our capo on the 2nd fret, if you want to know, becomes an A. So the notes are, in terms of if you're playing the arpeggiated version, that sounds more like the way they did it on the recording, but in standard tuning, that's what it's going to sound like. So we have this. And you can throw that little lick in there at the end if you want, or once you start mastering. Once you get that first arpeggiated part, then you can start playing around with things like that. Now let me stop myself. Okay, so we had this chord. Then what I did there is I just can let go. I can either let go with my middle finger, slide it down a fret, or just let go and press with my pointer. So I'm kind of like this. I've got my pointer on the relative 6th string 2nd fret. I'm using my ring finger on the relative 3rd string, or not 3rd string, 2nd string 3rd fret. So I'm going. And sort of the thing that's happening is there's the bass is transitioning. So I have whoops. So I do that. So it's like. And that's happening. All these fingers are, well, ring fingers on the 2nd string 3rd, and my middle fingers on the 5th string 3rd. So that being, and I don't mind the sound. Personally, I don't mind the sound of me pressing down that 4th string on the 2nd fret during that very last chord before the happens. But yeah, it's just sort of like there's this finger that's handling the bass, but there's that, so it's like after every bass transition there's all that is the 2nd through 4th strings with my ring finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret, and I'm just as I play each bass note, I repeat that sequence of way of playing. So I'll do that again. I do kind kind of change it a little. Well, so to kind of make that chord change sound a little bit smoother and still pretty close to the recording, there's sort of that, let's see, so I'm hitting the second, or the third and second string when I hit my low, my sixth string open. Whoops. And I cover my third string second fret for that, and then I go to my if you don't care about it sounding too much like the recording, you can get away with playing those notes. Covered both on the third fret, the first and second strings, so you could do your transitions that way if you want to. You can, if I'm doing more of a strummy version, I am muting this, covering the sixth string and touching the fifth string below it at the same time, so they're muted, so I get a good clean, I get all clean notes and no notes that I don't want. And I don't bother with pressing the fifth string down on the second fret. I like it. I think it sounds cleaner without it. So it sounds more accurate in my opinion. So and when I press that string down for that, it touches enough. I don't know, maybe I'm just blessed with a little bit fat enough fingers or whatnot, but it's also touching that string enough so it's muted enough so when I strum it sounds clean. It sounds pretty clean, and I'm pressing down hard, so that makes a little bit more contact, so the mute's even a little bit better that way as I press the string. So I'm kind of doing two jobs at once, and it keeps my chording clean that way. And I also kind of it's that this one finger is messing with three strings at the same time. It's touching the sixth up here, and it's also kind of hanging down on the fourth below it while it presses down the fifth. So it's doing all that. And if you're nervous, you could reach your thumb up and mute your sixth. If this finger isn't sufficing for doing all that at once, you could just reach up with your thumb to mute it. Further mute that sixth string. We have our minor chord there. Then this one. And this one, all six strings are open. No muting there. Then when I go down, my middle finger is resting between the fifth and sixth strings. And I go back to that chord. And you can kind of, once you get good enough with the strumming and good enough with the arpeggiation, you can kind of do a blending of the two, and like I was just doing there. Where you can kind of I am pressing this down, but I am leaving that open this time so I can hit that note. So and as I kind of pull my fingers down, personally, my finger sort of naturally mutes the fourth string below it, but that's okay. chorus. Now I call upon the things I never knew their names. Now I call upon the things I never knew their names. Don't belong to no one, that's a shame. So we're doing chords we've already learned for the chorus. We have that minor chord. Then we do that quote-unquote D. It's a suspended chord. And kind of in the chorus there's more of a strum in it, and you could just sort of, you could that the only difference there is instead of my pinky going, it's not pressing, it's just not pressing anything down. It's so the string's open, so I'm doing my minor, everything but my pinky, like I was doing. And the minor is the 4th and 5th strings on the 2nd fret, and my ring finger on the 2nd string on the 3rd fret. So. And then I am still muting my 5th and 6th by just putting my middle finger gently in between them. And if you want to, you could, or, so I mean, you can press that 4th string down on the 2nd fret or leave it open. I think either way it doesn't sound too disharmonious from what you're trying to do, so. That's more of the solo than the chorus. I really haven't got a method for playing the solo in standard. I'm fiddling around. I'm literally making this up on the spot. So that's something you could play with, or something I could play with and do a completely separate video for at a later date. This is more the rhythm, focused on the rhythm stuff. But yeah, in terms of getting that arpeggiated sound without having to do that really odd tuning, there's your. Might feel mechanical when you first do it, and you'll feel like, oh, that can't be quite right. I mean, it'll feel that way for a while, and then once you get it to the point where you don't have to think so hard about what you're doing, and you're playing effortlessly, when the effort becomes effortless, because you practiced it so well, it'll feel more natural. It'll feel more like the song. So. Kind of adding a few extra notes instead of just to the point where I can just sort of fiddle-ish with it. So. Arpeggiating notes in that way, if it's not natural to you, because you need to practice, you just have to practice it for a while, and then you'll be able to get that sort of what I would call kind of a country western arpeggiated picking thing, and you'll be picking and grinning by then. Yeah, but that's like I said, it's just those chords, and then if you're somebody can play some kind of version of the solo, you can just that's a mixture of strumming pattern and that's my pinky and pinky and middle fingers going within that quote-unquote D chord shade. So try not to hit your 5th and 6th strings during that, because you're trying to keep your notes clean. So I'm gonna have to get that quick strum in there and get that sounding like the record. But there you go. That's a 2.0 video for how to play name and standard tuning, and kind of go from a beginner level to more advanced with it. So, and this is in 720 high definition, so this should be a better video in a few ways. So yeah, just have to watch that muting, your strumming. You know, try to keep it clean, keep your notes on point, stuff like that. So there you go.